Hey everybody, it's me, Tyler Krochek, the Instant Classic. I enjoyed going live and talking for over an hour last time, so I figured I'm going to start doing it more often. But this video, I'm going to talk about the state of pro wrestling, or to some circles they call it sports entertainment. Now, these are just my opinions on the matter, just my thoughts, what I think about it. So let's just get into it. I'm not going to go over every promotion, not all of the little independents, but I'll go over WWE, Anthem's, Global Force Wrestling, Impact, whatever, TNA. You know, they changed it so many times, I don't know what to call it. So we'll call it Anthem's Impact Wrestling. Because right now there's rumors that Global Force is no longer part. Ring of Honor, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and then of course Lucha Underground. So let's start it off with this one because quite frankly, I cannot stand it, and that's Lucha Underground Wrestling. Now, I understand in today's wrestling business that everyone wants to kind of create something to compete with the big dog, which is WWE, but Lucha Underground is just such... it's such a far-fetched idea and so different that it's nothing like we've ever seen with wrestling. And that's the negative. That's the downfall with it, I think. I'm sure there are plenty of people out there that like it because it's still fucking going on. But I've watched it. I cannot stand the cheesy acting. Now, I get it. Everything in wrestling is fake, and it's acting, okay? But the way they film it, and they try to make it into, like, almost like a movie/TV show, you know, the behind-the-scene promos, and it's terrible. And here's the thing with me. I'm not a fan of a lot of new wrestlers today. I'm more of the old-school fan, or at least a fan of the guys that I've seen wrestle back in, say, 2008's the cutoff for me and back. Although there are a few guys that I like out there now, but that's kind of the point for me. So when I watch something like Lucha Underground, I go, I don't know any of these people. I don't know. And plus they're all in masks, and they have these weird names you can't pronounce. And it's such a weird setup. I almost feel like it could hurt pro wrestling. Because let's say someone who's never watched it before, and their first impression on wrestling is something they see as that, it's going to turn them away from it. I highly doubt someone's going to watch that and go, well, I want to see now all wrestling. Next one we'll talk about is Impact Wrestling. I have always been a very big time TNA fan. I loved them. I started watching the show probably 2005, I'd say. That's when I started watching TNA. Back when I think they're the best. Fast forward to 2012-ish. No, it's 2011-12. They start to really go downhill, and I stopped watching TNA Impact probably for a few years. I'd always check on YouTube or read Wrestle reports on it, and I just thought, God, this is awful. It really is. The storylines are terrible. The wrestlers are not that great. They're losing so much talent. I didn't understand how they were still in business, and I kept thinking to myself, well, TNA's going to go out. Hopefully WWE buys them so that their video library can now be used to create badass DVD sets for guys like AJ Styles, the Dudleys, all them kind of, Sting even. Fuck, can you imagine if WWE got a hold of TNA's library? You put Sting's time with WCW, TNA, and then his last tiny little fucking bit of WWE in it. God, man, you'd have like 6 DVD set. You did it right. But now, as far as what it is now, Global Force Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, whatever, I think it's great. I really enjoyed it. I did not, I'll be honest, I was disappointed with last week's episode. I thought it was pretty bad. You know, there was a lot of guys that weren't there. I think they could have done more with the Bobby Lashley and MMA angle that they're in. I was disappointed Jim Cornette was not there. I'm a huge Cornette fan. But I do think they made the right choice by making Eli Drake world champion. And the reason why I say that is, okay, I'm not a fan of new guys, you know, but Eli Drake, I am a huge fan of. First time I ever seen him out there. The way he talked and the way the way he talked on the mic and cut a promo, it reminded me of Stone Cold. The way he would walk and wrestle reminded me of The Rock. Two guys who I grew up watching, and you combine it into one, and you get that. And I just thought, man, this guy, he needs to be the champ. And sure enough, now he is their world heavyweight champion, and I just think it's awesome. It's badass. I think it's one of the better choices they've made, because he's basically a TNA homegrown guy. Why give the title to a guy who's not going to stay with the company or is a WWE guy? You want to make these talents. They did that with AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Bobby Roode, Eric Young, James Storm, and now look at all them guys. They're huge. By the way, I think James Storm, I think WWE should have offered him a better deal, because can you imagine if James Storm was in NXT with Bobby Roode together? They could have done Beer Money. They probably would have had to call it something different because of copyright stuff, but man, that would have been such a badass thing to see. And I know he was there for a few episodes, but he left because he got... See, I think what I heard was WWE offered him $50,000. TNA offered him about $250,000. What are you going to take? You're going to take the $250,000 and you're going to run. Because the dude, he has a family, you know what I mean? He is getting older, so it's just... I think it was the better choice for him. And I'll go back and I'll recover stuff of what I think, and we'll go to the big dog, WWE. I don't even... First off, let me put it this way. WWE, when they went to the PG rating, is kind of when I thought, this is terrible. What the fuck are they doing? But now I watch it, and I'll be honest, I spend more time hitting fast forward through it. Because I'll record it, and then I'll watch it, because I'm not going to sit through fucking these terrible matches, and these terrible segments, and then the commercials on top of it. I'm going to fast forward through the whole thing until I find something I like. And probably, I think with Raw, it's 3 hours? I spend maybe 20 minutes at the most, and that's on if it's a good episode, watching. I just can't stand it. I prefer SmackDown Live, and I think they have gotten a lot better, especially now that they got Shelton Benjamin. I'm a huge Benjamin fan. I think he deserves to one day be given the title. And I'm hoping with his return that they'll give him it. No, I didn't watch No Mercy. I got rid of the WWE Network. I didn't care to watch the pay-per-views for 2 years straight. Actually, yeah, almost 3 years straight. Yeah, I'll say 2 years. 2 years straight of WrestleManias and pay-per-views I thought were all shit and garbage. So I just didn't see the point. So I did read the results, and I did see some of the highlights. I'm glad I didn't run it. Or glad I didn't have the network to see that, because I would have been pretty disappointed. I thought the only cool thing was that The Miz kept the Intercontinental belt. And here's the thing. I'm not a Miz fan at all. I do not enjoy The Miz. But his record for overall holding the belt is number 3 on the all-time list of every guy who's ever held it. So I'm hoping that, he's got about 200 days and he'll be at number 1. But, so that's why I kind of want to see him hold it, just so that somebody new could step up and be the top guy. I was happy John Cena lost. I'm not a John Cena fan. I have not been a John Cena fan since WrestleMania 21, where he beat JBL for the WWE title. I don't know why, but that's the day I stopped being a fan of John Cena. And then, of course, it's always John Cena wins every belt. John Cena's the best here and there and buries everybody. And I never was a fan. So if he wants to ride off and retire, great. I hope to God he's not the guy who beats Ric Flair's record. I'm pissed off that he beat Ric Flair's record. And then, so what else with No Mercy, I'd have to say was, like, it's cool Enzo won the title. I like him on the mic, but I'm not a fan of his in-ring work. All the other matches, from what I understand, were pretty shitty. Even Brock Lesnar versus Braun Strowman, I looked it up, and it lasted 9 minutes. Again, Brock Lesnar wins a match with under 10 minutes. It's pointless. And what I don't understand is, okay, I get Brock's a big name, a big draw, but why put the Universal title, this big fucking belt, on a guy like him who's a part-timer, who only shows up and wrestles a pay-per-view once in a great while? You need to put a belt on a guy who is going to be there every Monday night or every Tuesday night, whatever show they're going to be at. They don't necessarily have to defend the belt every show, but they should at least be there in wrestling, and then at least be at every pay-per-view, unlike Brock Lesnar, who shows up fucking handful of times, and he has the belt, and it's just, I think that's where they're hurting it. Another reason why I don't really watch WWE anymore is because it's the same guys fighting the same guys all the time. And I get tired of it, and it's been that way for fucking ever. Now, if I had to say some dream matches that I'd like to see, that are dream matches that are possible, we have Kurt Angle back in WWE. It's only a matter of time until WWE decides to smarten up and let him wrestle. See, what I heard is that he wanted to come back to WWE, but he didn't want to work full time. And I kind of am like, well, you're basically working full time. You're at every Monday Night Raw. How is that not part time? Yeah, you're not wrestling, but you're still there. And to me, it seems like it's such a waste of time, because, you know, Angle, he's getting up there in age, you know, he's only got a few more years left. So why let him spend a year or two general managing when you can have him out there having dream matches? Kurt Angle, who I'd like him to wrestle, I don't want to see him take on anyone he did before in WWE, and I don't want to see him take on any guys he took on back in TNA. I don't want to see Kurt Angle versus AJ Styles at WrestleMania or on any other fucking show. To me, it's a waste. Unless Kurt Angle is going to be a full-time guy where he's wrestling every Monday night and every pay-per-view, then sure, you can, you know, fucking throw that in at some point. Kurt Angle versus Sami Zayn. I think that'd be a good one. I had it down in my head who I'd like to see him wrestle, but now I can't think off the top of my head. Shinsei Nakamura, I think that'd be cool. I don't know, I'll have to come back to that one. Other dream matches, well, I'd love to see the AJ Styles versus Shawn Michaels, but I saw the interview that he gave. It ain't gonna happen. I'm not a fan of John Cena, but I wouldn't mind seeing him take on Hulk Hogan. They're basically the same fucking thing. But Hulk's too old. And that's another thing I wanted to discuss. So you got these guys who are retiring young. And I get it. Sometimes you gotta retire because you want to be able to fucking function and move and walk. But guys who just go, well, I'm tired. Like John Cena, you know, I'm 40 years old now, and I don't know if I could still keep going. It's like, I go back and I think of guys like Hogan, Flair, Bob Backlund. Those three guys, they're still wrestling. Hulk Hogan, no, I mean, not now, but I mean, he wrestled up until he was almost 60. Flair, he wrestled up until 2012, I think it was, with TNA, 2011 it might have been. And I remember Flair saying he'd still go, but his body looks like shit. Jerry Lawler, that's another guy. He wrestles still, even after having a fucking heart attack and dying, basically. And so then you get these guys who are like, oh, I'm 40 now, or I'm 39, or I'm 40. I don't know if I can keep going. And it's stupid. It's a waste. I don't buy it. I get it if you're going to be paralyzed, then sure. New Japan Pro Wrestling. I don't watch it live. I watch it on Access TV. And what really makes me like it is not just because of the style, because I think their styles are amazing. The way those guys fight, it's epic. But Jim Ross, legendary Jim Ross, does the commentating. And anytime Jim Ross is fucking talking, I'm gonna listen. Because he is my all-time favorite commentator. And since I titled this wrestling, I might as well give, like, top favorites. Let's see here. I'll do top 10. My top 10 all-time favorite wrestlers. This is all generations. Number 1, Ric Flair. He is, without a doubt, the greatest professional wrestler ever. Number 2, Bruno Sammartino. Guy who can hold a title for as long as he did. He's got to be there. Number 3, Nick Bockwinkel. He's a name probably not a lot of young kids. No, I'll be honest, not a lot of people my generation or younger, possibly even a little older, would know who that is. But one of the greatest all-time AWA champions. One of the greatest on the mics. Just perfect. If he's a character that could be successful in today's wrestling. So we got Ric Flair, Bruno Sammartino, Nick Bockwinkel, Bob Backlund. That is a dude who, first off, like, rarely ever gets sick, stone cold sober, but can go like no other. I mean, for a guy who's his age, anytime he has ever gotten into the ring, he goes like he was a kid, and it's unreal. Number 5, I'd have to say Shawn Michaels. I'm gonna give it to Shawn on that one, cause man, when he was in that ring, like they all say, it was magic. I don't say he's the greatest of all time. There's certainly people that were better, but he is great. Number 6, I gotta give it to Roddy Piper. The only guy I can say truly who was never world champion who should have been world champion. That guy, man, it's just amazing. If you have Piper's Pit, even his in-ring work, it was flawless. It was great. He was the perfect bad guy. I think we're at number 6. I'm going to say it's number 6 because I don't know for 100% sure. So number 7, I'll say Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle, man. I mean, talk about fucking skill. You got an Olympic gold medalist who wins gold medal and then transitions smoothly and perfectly into being a professional sports entertainer / wrestler. And here's the thing, I'm not going to use that term anymore, a sports entertainer. I get it, it's fake, but they're pro wrestlers. Number 8. Who would I have to put at number 8? That's a tough one. Vern Gagne. Vern Gagne is another guy who probably a lot of people wouldn't know, but man, he was the guy who got like Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels, a lot of these big time legends. Their start wasn't for him. Who knows what could happen to these big names? We may not have ever had them. Number 9. Trying to think here. And what I'm trying to do is I'm going to go for older guys who probably don't wrestle that much anymore or don't wrestle. Chris Jericho. He's a current wrestler, but also not, legend. Chris Jericho, all-time great, man. He is a guy who's been doing this for, I think 25 years, 27 years, and he can still go. Not only does he wrestle, what I like about Chris Jericho the most, why he's on this list, is because when he leaves, or when he comes back full time. And that's not just, I'm on every Monday night or every Tuesday night, every pay-per-view. He does every house show. He requests to do every house show. Number 10, I gotta give it to Sting. Sting's a guy who could have, after WCW went down, he could have just packed it in and never wrestled again. He could have been a guy who could have gone to WWE and possibly became something or got buried, whatever. But he chose to go to TNA and try to make that company great. In his time there, I think he did an amazing job. So now we'll do a top 10 current wrestlers. Number 1, Dolph Ziggler. He is the guy who I think should be the face of WWE. He should at least be holding belts like crazy. Number 2, Eli Drake. Definitely a guy, if Global Force, TNA, whatever it is, shuts down, he should definitely be on their top priority of hiring. Number 3, Shinsuke Nakamura. That guy is fucking nuts in the ring. Every time I see him, wrestling, it's worth watching. He makes it worth watching. He's one of those guys, when you get in the ring with him, he just makes you better. Number 4. Bobby Roode. I'm a huge fan of Bobby Roode. I like that guy. I think he's got a good transition now with being in WWE with the whole Glorious gimmick. I think it works for him. Number 5, I'd have to say Finn Balor. I think Finn Balor and Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, I think they should combine them and make WWE's version of the Bullet Club, a proper version. Number 6, Shelton Benjamin. Without a doubt, a guy who should be WWE champion or Universal champion, whatever. He should be the guy. He is absolutely amazing in the ring. And seeing him come back to WWE and wrestle again, it's epic. Number 7, let's see here. Gosh. I like Trevor Lee, that guy in Impact Wrestling. His look I was not sold on, but man, when he got in the ring and the way he could perform, he sold me then. I thought, wow, this guy, he's good. I don't know if WWE would hire him just because of the way he looks, but man, he's got some skill. Number 8, Sami Zayn. Again, guy is just flawless in that ring. Number 9, I'll give it to The Miz, because he's a guy who could have been bullied out or could have just done anything else, but he really stuck to his guns, and he's made a name in the history books of pro wrestling. He really has. Number 10, I'll give it to Orton. That's another guy who has stuck to being true of being a wrestler. He's gone off and done movies and shows, but he's always stayed in the business and kept going. So, let's see here. Ring of Honor, I didn't cover that. I think it's alright. Every time I've watched it, though, because I DVR everything I watch, so I can skip through commercials, so I never watch anything live. I don't understand why the fuck do you got a little skin and not... Excuse me for the way I'm saying this. I'm not racist at all. This is just the way I'm saying it. How are you going to have a little black man named Cheeseburger on every fucking episode? I'm not joking. I'm not talking like he's a midget or nothing, but this is a guy who just is bone thin. No muscle to him, nothing. Like, the guy's not eating his fucking protein and working out. He's a fucking twig. And he's on every episode. And he's basically winning every fucking match, and I don't understand it. I think it's fucking ridiculous. I'll tell you right now, it was Ring of Honor. I just watched the match. I forgot all the members in it, but I do know the 2 tag teams for sure. It was the Young Bucks taking on the Motor City Machine Guns. And holy shit, that should have been match of the year. I don't know if anything else could compete with that other than Kenny Omega's match that he had at Wrestle Kingdom. I think it was at the beginning of the year. That was great. I don't care. I know people are going to say, well, John Cena versus AJ Styles at the Royal Rumble, that's the greatest match of all time. No, it fucking isn't. I watched that match, and I got bored and stopped watching it. I literally gave it a try. I really sat there and tried to watch it, and I couldn't do it. I thought it was terrible, especially after watching the Kenny Omega hour-long match. me and my friend Dustin, who we watch wrestling together, who I'd say we kind of know a thing or two of what's good and what's not. We sat through that whole hour watching it, still amazed, not wanting to get up to go get a drink or something because we were glued to the TV. And then he had told me, well, you gotta watch AJ Styles versus Cena, it's good. We sat and watched it, and he even said to himself, yeah, it's not that good now that I've seen it again. And I said, dude, it's fucking terrible. I want to turn it off. I didn't want to watch it. But that's the thing, and here's the thing, AJ Styles, I think it was great in TNA, but I think he kind of he lost that magic when he went to WWE. I don't think he didn't bring it with him when he transitioned over. The women's division, I'll say, when these top divas or whatever you want to call them, in WWE right now, when they were in NXT, I think they were great. But now that they're here in WWE, I just think they're not so great. This didn't go as good as I thought it was going to go. I'll tell you right now, when I had it in my head thinking I'm going to talk about wrestling, I don't know. They didn't have the magic as the first time. I think now when I do one of these live shows, we'll just talk about other stuff. But here's second try at it. This is about wrestling. Hope you enjoy. It's just my opinion. Later. Why the fuck when you hit finish it still keeps going? Son of a bitch. Here we go. Come on. Yeah.